All right, everybody, welcome back to the Lobby Podcast with myself, Joey, Paul, Jordan. Today, we're going to be playing a little game of cards, and while Jordan sorts out the cards, I wanted to read this crazy tweet today that I read. It was actually on my Instagram feed. It was from the governor of Mississippi, I don't even know, Tate Reeves, and he goes, starting tomorrow, we are lifting all our county mask mandates and businesses will be able to operate at full capacity without any state-imposed rules. Our hospitalizations and case numbers have plummeted, and the vaccine is being rapidly distributed. It is time. There's a lot of things that I have to say about this, but like I think it's A, really convenient timing. That's one thing that we can get into. We don't have to. But B, is it just gone? Like, nobody said anything to me about the vaccine. I've actually had COVID before. We've all had COVID, maybe not Paul. Maybe you have, I don't know. But like, no, but I've heard nothing about me getting it. Maybe like teachers. I don't know. Like, when do I get the vaccine?
You know, the vaccine, meaning. I know, like, there's, what is it? Don't like certain people have to be required to get the vaccine, even for jobs too?
Yeah, like nurses. Like anyone in a hospital pretty much has to get it, and like nursing homes as well. Because those are the most at-risk people, which is why I believe that shutdown for this long was slightly ridiculous. I don't think...
Even prior to vaccines?
Prior to vaccines, absolutely. What good does the vaccine do? Whatever, it's less effective than, I guess, like your own immune system.
I 100% disagree. The fact that you can even say that out loud.
How do you disagree with that?
Because, I mean, considering how many people died, like, I understand, like, people die of the flu, people die of this, but when people are dying of the flu and of COVID at the same time, and, like, one, we don't completely understand it at all, and there's, like, no way to counter it, like, at least shut down for a little bit.
It's like immunodeficient people. Like, obviously, immunodeficient people, it targets them more than, let's say, it would you and Jordan, because, like you said, you both had it, and... We didn't do anything for 2 weeks. We just sat here, played video games.
Not that it targets us differently, but it affects us differently.
I guess you're right, but as far as I know, the majority of people that I know that have gotten COVID have been like minimal symptoms, like stuffy nose, can't taste. That's it.
Well, the problem with the whole COVID thing, I don't think it's even everybody getting it. It's everybody spreading it. Like, for example, like I know, bro, I could care less if I had COVID. I mean, obviously, I don't want COVID, but like I was fine when I had it. Now, like, don't want to give it to my mother and, like, father?
That's what I'm getting at.
And that's why I think it is important to have, like, freedom. Like, the vaccine makes sense. Because, like, I couldn't give it to my family or anybody, like, you know, I'm older and stuff.
I think what bothers me the most about it is, like, if, say, when I got COVID, right? Mm-hmm. If COVID wasn't as big of a deal as it is, then I might have gone home the weekend I had it. Like, because I wouldn't have gotten tested. If COVID wasn't a big deal, I wouldn't have gotten tested. Yeah. Right. And my family would have all been at risk because I know, like, a few deficient people in my family.
Mm-hmm. Like, let's say, if you had the flu or strep, would you go home? Like, if you had strep throat, would you go home? Like, before...
That's a good question. I guess the only problem with that is if I knew I had the flu, would I go home? No, obviously. Nobody in the right... Typically, you should... If you know you have the flu, that means, like, you're, like, at least somewhat sick. I was relatively, like... You know, like asymptomatic. I was I would have gone home without ever knowing.
And I wasn't gonna get tested. Supposedly, I didn't get it at all in the 2 weeks that I lived with you guys here while we were in quarantine.
You know what I mean? That or you just never had symptoms.
But I got tested.
True, but
like twice, never got it.
Again, like I guess it depends on, like, for example, like.
And we did social distance, by the way.
We do the social distancing.
Oh, of course.
Like to make that known, you know.
So Paul not getting it isn't too shocking because we did, we did our part to society.
Yeah, but between us, there wasn't really social distancing because I was like, well, every single one of my roommates has it. I'm just getting, like, if I get it at this point, whatever.
Right, but I wore a mask around the apartment.
For 2 days.
Well, in the 2 most important days, arguably. Like, after I stopped wearing the mask, then, like, I was already... completely asymptomatic, like 100%, like not even like staying up all night to a sweat.
That was insane what just happened right there.
Yeah, I know. So I just gave up a queen.
I just got a fat stack right there. I mean, I don't know. This argument could literally go on forever because there's pros and cons to everything. Obviously some people feel differently about it than we do, or you know what I mean? Like, we have different opinions about it. I don't think that'll be an answer, but Texas and Mississippi are both opening 100%. So I don't know. How long do you think it's going to be before PA follows suit?
Do you think they're staying open? Do you think they're staying open for
I
length of
don't.
time?
Texas, Mississippi.
I don't.
Yeah, I think they are. I think this is it. Because even, Fauci, he said that over the summer, or whatever, July or June or something like that, is when he predicts COVID to be over.
But isn't that
When we
just
go
so
back to
funny
extension.
though? Like, I don't mean to get political here, and I'm like not coming. I'm obviously not saying anything that I believe to be right or wrong. But like, bro, how does any of this make sense?
Because it was all political.
2 months.
Perfectly
It was
fine.
100% political.
All political.
I think everything is so political these days, and it's so ridiculous. 2 months ago, during election month, or maybe it was a little bit more than 2 months ago, but still, when the election was going on, right after the election, when the election was still a huge controversy, COVID was shutting everything down.
Yep.
While President Trump was still in office, everything was shut down. Nothing was getting done right. Bro, in what way is Texas and Mississippi opening at all done right?
It's because it's not election season anymore, Joey. The election's
that-
over. That's why they're opening.
That just bothers
That's why
me
they're
so much.
Because if they would have tried to open 2 months ago, when Trump was still in office, they would have been shut down from every corner of the United States, from every small court judge to governor of other states. You know what I mean?
Bro,
they
he
would have just
gotten
been
impeached
ran out of
off
town.
rip. Like,
Yeah.
he would have gotten impeached.
Cheers.
Okay, but not only Pennsylvania opening up, Penn State, all in-person classes next semester in the fall. I think that's kind of crazy. I think that's
Wait,
absolutely wild.
No chance that sticks. I'm so sorry. You're telling me everybody's gonna get this vaccine, bro? Cat.
Do you think you're gonna need a vaccine to go to in-person classes?
Can the school make it like a
Yes.
mandate?
Yes, 100%. You have to turn in your vaccination records before you even
Vaccination records.
apply for the college. Right. But there is some
enroll.
correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there some vaccines that can like
give or take?
No, you can opt to not have them.
You would have to get the thing.
That'd be so much paperwork and headache and hassle.
It's already a hassle to get your vaccination records or whatever. But I don't even know how to explain it.
Personally, I'm not getting it unless at some point in my life I have to get it or I can't do something. If I couldn't go to school, I guess I would have to get it. But if it's up to me, I'm not getting the vaccine. There's no point.
Well, my only question is, how do I never really thought about it until just now. How do they make people get vaccines like that? That whole concept blows my mind because it doesn't make any sense how they can force somebody to get a vaccine. I've never thought about it because I've always been completely vaccinated. But those anti-vaccine people, which I've never understood, by the way.
I never got that either.
That's a whole nother. And so, why wouldn't you get the vaccine?
I mean, I guess it's a topic for another day. But I can kind of understand that. I'll take them. I figured it out. I know how to play war, guys.
There we go. Yeah, slowly.
Just took my king.
There. Now, I think that is a lot different. The only reason that I would not get the vaccine today, tomorrow, or even let's say a year from now, is that because it's such a new thing that I don't know if there's any benefit for myself to get it. Because if I didn't get COVID when I was living with you guys, or wherever I had asymptomatic and I was quarantining, I mean, I guess I'd rather take my chances than get a COVID vaccine because then it would just expose me to more COVID, I guess, and then I'd have to quarantine and all this other stuff if I get sick. I don't know.
So riddle me this, right? So you've got a bunch of people who say everybody, obviously completely hypothetical, say everybody, say 50% of America refuse to take the vaccine.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Don't we still have do we still have a COVID problem after that? Or is it just you don't have the vaccine, so that's on you if you get it? You know what I'm saying? It's just like the flu. If you don't have the flu vaccine, it's just on you. So is that what this is now? What if old people, so I know some people, if you give them the vaccine, right, it's not good for them because
they're so immunodeficient already that the vaccine itself
could
would hurt them more than it would help them.
Because we don't know that much about the vaccine, but how much... Another question: how much did we know about all the vaccines that?
That's what I'm saying.
We go to the doctor and they're like, "Hey, it's time for this shot," and then your mom's like, "All right, you ready? We'll get some ice cream." Bro, we don't know anything about that shot. Nothing.
We know more about those shots. Let's say it's the chicken pox and even the flu shot, even though the flu isn't whatever.
It's new. It's a new strand every year.
It's new. It's a new strand every year,
So
and that's probably how
every year.
because it's not like COVID just popped into existence last year. It's been around for forever. You know what I mean? There was all that viral stuff COVID-19 or whatever was on the back, or coronavirus was on the back of Lysol containers because they knew that disease existed. it was just some weird, goofy strain that popped out of nowhere last year, and it just took off. I don't know. It's the same thing with all the other diseases. You know what I mean? Like chickenpox. There's a vaccine for that. You know how long chickenpox has been around?
Doesn't make any sense.
And there's a reason the chickenpox one works is because they've been doing research on it for like 50 years. Now, COVID, they're 13 months in on research. That's why I wouldn't necessarily trust it.
Okay, but how long would you argue is a long enough time to understand a vaccine? We don't even know. Like when COVID first came out, I'm sitting there wondering like, how hard could it be to make a vaccine? Not because because from not that I'm obviously aware of how hard it is to make a vaccine. Like, I'm not saying like the doctors are scrubs. Like let me sub me in, coach. But when I was chilling, you know, in school last semester, and they're like, everybody go home. Like we don't have a vaccine, and it's not looking like there's gonna be a vaccine for a while. I'm sitting there like, dude. Like, why don't you just make a vaccine? You
know what I think that was? Another hard thing.
That blows my mind.
I think that was also just another completely political
Do you
part
think?
of that. I absolutely think so.
You think they would let all those people die just for politics?
Cuomo in New York covered up a third of whatever the COVID deaths in his state or in the United States from nursing homes.
That's true.
Just wrote them off.
But
just like put a blank sheet over it.
Obviously a little...
Yeah, he's a little goofy.
He's a little...
Next year, do you think Penn State is going to go through with their in-person classes?
Dude, Texas and Mississippi are opening next week. If Penn State doesn't, then they're going to lose enrollments, I feel like.
Yeah, they'll go somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying.
Students,
Would you consider going somewhere else if they didn't open?
Yeah, if they weren't going to have a full campus and I was an incoming freshman, I just graduated high school, and my senior year was spent with all the COVID stuff, the first thing I would do is I would want to go to a college that has full access to everything. I wouldn't want to do Zoom classes Tuesdays. I wouldn't want to do this. I wouldn't want the cafeteria to be takeout only. I'd want to go to a college where, you know what I mean? Because that's why a lot of people go to college. They go to college to experience it. And
I don't know, man. I just, part of me is just...
But we've already been... Imagine being in high school the last year, nothing. You know what I mean? Like, parents are scheduling their own proms for their kids because the school won't, like, sanction them and stuff. It's such a weird
your
concept.
Senior prom being, like, canceled because... of COVID.
No, that was mine.
Isn't that insane? Like, just insane to think about. Okay, like, we missed half of freshman year and half of sophomore year. Boo-hoo.
Of college, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
at the very least,
it's not like our lives were changed that much. Not that COVID doesn't exist on college campuses. I'm out of cards.
You're out?
This is just absolutely phenomenal.
I have a stack.
Bro, and a half.
I am... Jordan has more.
It's really funny how this went down. I was, like, kind of trying to show you guys that I only had 5 left. It was, like, depression.
Let's give Joey half our cards.
No, I mean...
Half our cards?
Win the game.
Joey, this is what you're going to do. Ready? These next cards, you get the winner's hand. Like, there's 2 cards here. Whether it's, like, an A and a king, you get both of them no matter what.
Bet.
That's what you're playing
Bet.
with. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
Alright? Back in this.
I'll even shuffle it up.
See what you can do. Wow.
Oh, you got stuck. What if there's an ace hidden under
This
there?
is the first card.
Oh, alright, well, I mean, okay, well, there we go, there's another queen.
I'm already out of losing.
You should have thrown the king back out again.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't.
Wait, how did that work?
So you got like finesse it to get on top.
Yeah, a little sleight of hand.
Yeah, you guys probably wouldn't have noticed. Like, you would have been
No,
like,
definitely not.
Oh!
I got 2 and a 4 there.
Yeah.
Alright. Maybe I can get a tie and get some cards on, huh?
So, but basically, PA is kind of opening back up. They have 20% capacity now for like sporting events, whatnot. Oh, no, wait, I guess
the winner was pushing the cards towards me, so I was like...
I don't know. What's Maryland doing?
Oh, dude.
Do you know anything about
Maryland? So, the difference between Maryland, I don't know, like, obviously we're in... Obviously, we're not, like, in... I feel like Harrisburg and Pittsburgh are doing a little bit different, right? But, like...
Philly.
And Philly, like, I'm sure they're all doing it different, but in Maryland, dude, the whole state is like lockdown.
Still, everything.
Like, bro, the last time I was there, it was obviously a lot different. Like, we've been at school for like a month now, right? I don't know how long we're gonna play like this, but I could do this for a long time.
I saw you trying to shuffle that.
Well, I just wanted to like shuffle it around, but yeah, Maryland, it was completely different. It was. So you go to Walmart here, you might see like the occasional person without a mask. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if like they're supposed to be doing that. It's just nobody says anything to those people that do that. But in Maryland, bro, like there will be fights, like
really?
Old lady fights if old ladies see other old ladies walking around without like a mask on. Mind you, blows my mind that these things, like, bro, these people, everybody thinks life is on the line. My parents, like, well, maybe they're a different situation because they're immunocompromised, but their lives. Yeah. My parents, you know, at least they think they are.
Oh. Well, you're not.
I'm not saying that they're not immunocompromised.
I guess talking about all this is kind of big. Dude, it's been almost 1 year. We went on spring break last year, went down to Carolinas right before COVID was like here, kind of a thing. And then basically we went to spring break and then we just never came back to the school. I don't know. Did much of that happen that way? I wasn't a big fan of it.
It does not feel like it's been a year already.
No.
Yeah,
not at
it
all.
was insane. Like a year ago today, like the NBA was coming close to like not having any fans. Or did that already pass?
When was spring break?
It was early March.
When we were in spring break, there was like a few cases around the United States in like big populated areas. Because remember, we were like, there's 2 people in South Carolina who have COVID.
Yeah,
and then we were like, maybe we should like go back a day. Like people were talking about that, but you know what I mean?
It was a rush. Like I was having a blast because you guys all drove, right? Mm-hmm. Me, who was it? It was me, Amy, Madison, and Chris. We flew.
Oh,
we were the only ones who flew, I think.
Bro, our car was so fun too.
That was kind of fun.
The first flight we had got canceled. I don't remember why it got canceled. We were like, we're about to get stuck in South Carolina for COVID.
Did you have to like wear masks on that flight?
Yeah, the entire flight, yeah.
Bro, like,
so already at that point.
Do you remember what we said about that?
But keep in mind, by the way, I'm just throwing it out there, we didn't, at that time, I don't think it was mandated that we had to wear masks.
It wasn't, not at all.
Probably like everyone else had masks on. So
Everyone had masks on.
Really?
It wasn't mandated, and every single person had a mask on.
That blew my mind. Because I remember, me and a group of people were laughing at you because, not laughing like, ooh, like.
No, I was totally laughing
funny.
at you at that point.
Because it was funny. It was a funny concept. I didn't own a mask at that time. I didn't own a mask.
I think
who did? Once you were like in the medical field.
On our way back, I got a text while you were driving the car. I got a text from my mom saying, "Hey, is there any way you can stop at the store and pick up toilet paper?" Like I don't know. The spring break was the craziest thing that ever happened to us because before we left, we were coming back like at the end of spring break, and then after like we're on our way back, and all of a sudden like
it's an apocalypse.
It's an apocalypse. Literally
for like 4 months. I lived out of the bag that I packed for spring break because everything else was still on campus, but they wouldn't let you come back to campus to get your stuff. Like, I lived out of a duffel bag and my backpack for like whatever 2-3 months.
Dude,
nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
It's so crazy how our spring break went down. We'll never ever forget that. By the way, Jordan wore masks before it was cool. Like you were
ahead of time. Cool. And Joey and I were probably making fun of him the entire time.
I wasn't playing, and Amy's like,
we literally were.
Amy's like, you have to wipe down your seat. Like she had wipes. She's like, you have to wipe it down. Like,
you know what's funny? Like we would get on a flight today, we wouldn't even think about wiping down our seat. But like when there was like 1,000 cases in the United States, everybody was like, wipe. Like we wiped down in my house everything that we brought into the house.
I think why? Because at the time when it first started, like obviously I feel like people were like, be cautious about it because you don't want it to be a problem. It's not already a problem. But now that it's like a thing already, I feel like it's just like
it was such a big deal when it first came out. Obviously because it was so overhyped for what we actually had in the United States. And then every day, if you turn on the news,
if I'm being honest, I don't think it was overhyped at all. Not even a little bit.
Oh, it was so overhyped for the first. Because think of it, if there's only 1,000 cases in the United States total at that point in time, and every day you see like videos of like horror stories in like China, like people like falling over on the sidewalk. Of course, people are going to be paranoid about it.
You're right, but what did it end up being though? I don't think it was overhyped just because of, like I said, what it ended up being in the beginning. Even though we didn't have that much in the beginning, it was overhyped because of what it could be, and I think it did live up to that.
But you're telling me that CNN had an inside scoop on what it could be 9 months from now? They were just overhyping it for the sake of news. That's why
they were right.
Is the thing. I don't think they were even right though, because when was the last time you saw a clip in the United States of somebody standing on the sidewalk at a bus stop and falling on their face in the concrete from COVID?
Paul, like a lot of people died though.
Yeah, but like it wasn't the same with it was like
it was
the way they were saying it was like this airborne disease that if you get it, you're just gonna like die on the spot.
I think regardless, like, do how many people like actually did die and how many people how it would affect people, I don't think it was overhyped.
I mean, but think about it though. Like,
you're right. Like, how could they have known it was gonna be this bad? But like, it still was.
Think about the panic that was created.
That's what
I think that's maybe what Paul's more referring to, and I 100% agree with that.
Also, because
the panic at the beginning was absurd.
No one knew what it was gonna be though. Like,
but it wasn't gonna be an apocalypse. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. But like, if we could have avoided as many like deaths and like whatever as possible, it would have been phenomenal. So like even if like I agree like it was like we were rushed and it was panic and it was bad in the beginning, but like say we had like everybody got their stuff together and like we'd like say like things were locked down 100% from the start. Like say we did like a whole like 3 weeks whatever, and like that was it. And like yeah, it would have been nuts, and I would have been saying, why am I in my house for 3 weeks? Like this is kind of dumb. Like for like no reason. But like if it was like done and over with and it actually helped save people's lives, then I don't think it would have been crazy at all.
I don't believe that would have even really remotely made a difference, because what happens after 3 weeks? You know what I mean? Like COVID is contagious. What happens after 3 weeks when everyone comes out of their house? Like if they do a 3-week hard shutdown and they gradually come back to it.
That's what I'm saying.
Like in theory, it's going.
If everybody does what they're supposed to do, if everybody does what they're supposed to do, and like actually,
which is next to impossible.
You're right.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't happen like that. Like it sounds, I guess, like nice on paper. But like I said earlier, like coronavirus has been around for however long Lysol's been printing it on the back of their canisters. You know what I mean? It's not like if everyone just does a hard shutdown for 3 weeks, no one goes outside, food's delivered to your door, government this, government that. It's not going to go away. It would probably just come back because, you know what I mean? There's outbreaks every couple months, or like there's higher...
when was the last like outbreak before like a year ago?
There's outbreaks going on right now, or at least back during election season. People were like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Yeah, because like it's in like it's in the world right now, and it's gonna be in like. But I'm saying before the outbreak like, a year ago today, when was the last like outbreak? I'm saying if it had been like if quote unquote controlled at the time had happened, like maybe like a little better than it was, then we wouldn't have nearly as much of a problem.
But Jordan, the thing that I'm saying about is that if you would have had coronavirus 3 years ago, and you go to the doctor for a sore throat and no taste and smell, you know what they would have done? They would have been like, you have the flu, go home and sleep for a week, drink lots of water, drink plenty of fluids, take your vitamins, and that would have been the solving coronavirus then. And then some people would go, they'd be really sick, and you know they might lose their life, but it would still just be classified under the flu. There's a reason why flu...
Well, so you're also assuming though. Like you're assuming.
I don't think I'm assuming. I mean,
those people 3 years ago had COVID.
These are things we'll never know.
Yeah, it's a question that you can just keep going after. But I guess it's far to say that it was political. I agree with Joe on that part, that it was very overhyped from the beginning, and I think that paranoia was there for the first 3 months, and then it just latched on like the virus. You know what I mean? It just never went away. Like it's not going to go away, at least in the next couple of years. People are always going to be kind of thinking about corona, or like, oh, remember back when then, and back when this.
I don't think that... The only problem I have with saying it's political is that it's almost like you're blaming one side or the other. Like, the only problem with everything I thought was just that, or with everything in the world, is that it can always be used to be political, which absolutely blows my mind. I don't even think... Not that politics shouldn't exist, because like I'm sure it's like a whatever, like it's just super important. But coming from just some dude who doesn't really pay much, I like to keep up on the news and everything that's going on in headlines. But I just think politics is so negative, and like the stigma behind it is just so bad that it either needs to get restructured or it's never ever gonna be what it's intended to be. Which I don't know. I don't even.
Absolutely.
It makes me angry to think
about.
And
that is an entire conversation for another day, because that could go on for a while.
That's a completely different topic, but COVID does, and it did, really like shine light on the fact that everything is too political, and then you found out through like all of these protests and movements that like there's a problem that needs to be fixed, and I think that those are also getting swept under the rug right now, which, like you have said, definitely a topic for another day.
A lot of things are getting swept under the rug in the last 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you guys like have anything you really want to do after COVID? Because I've got a few things in my mind.
What do you guys want to do after COVID?
I need to travel as many places as humanly possible.
I'm so with that.
I love traveling, and it's like bothering me so much that I haven't been able to do so much during COVID, but... Bro, 100%. That's all I want to do.
It's one of those things you don't know how much you want to do something until like the possibility of doing it is taken away. Because before COVID, I was like, okay, like I guess I'll go later in my life and see. I want to see the world now. Like I want to go places, do things that I never want to sit in my house and play video games for 2 straight days again. Like, I want to go.
I agree.
I'm with you guys on all of that. One thing I want to do is I want to not have to schedule an appointment for the Advert gym and walk down there and use every dumbbell on that stupid rack that has been covered with a tarp for the last 13 months. just, you know what I mean? Like, go over there, try to pick up the one that's 150 pounds, then that'll be it. And then from there,
stare at the dudes that can do it.
And then I'll have the peace of mind from there, and my life will be complete at that point.
There you go.
Well, we're probably going to have to wait a little longer before we can do that because,
Unfortunately.
I don't think it's going to be wrapped up immediately. Unlike this podcast, however, that's all we got time for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to check out all of our other podcasts and be ready for next week's episode. Go give a quick look at all of the other stuff that's going on in the Collegiate Review, and we will see you guys in the next podcast. Thanks for watching.